But I want to point out something. I want to point out something that really, really bothers me, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on reporting and how I feel about Andy. Of course, many of you may have seen my tweets, and a lot of people are like, "That's a bad take, Tim." Look. My take's not bad. I'm right. Look. My take's not bad. I'm right. My take's not bad. I'm right.
And we are back. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend. Excuse me. I had to take a mental health day from the woke TikTok insanity. I think it's going to benefit us all to take a little break, but don't get comfortable. It's not going to last long. You're welcome. Anyway, it's been quite a while since I've done any videos on Tim Pool, Adam Krigler, Ian Crossland, or the Timcast IRL podcast. And I figured with Tim embroiled in this little controversy here, why not make a video about it, see what you guys think. I'll give you my opinion, and we'll check some of the opinions of some of Tim's peers out there. So, the biggest thing that I want to point out that blew my mind is the 3 examples that Tim gives as to why Andy and certain journalists shouldn't be doing what Andy did. And I'll explain. All right, before I get into it, if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to become a part of the greatest community on the YouTubes, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave me a thumbs up if you like the video, and let me know in the comments what you guys think of this whole mess about what Tim said about Andy Ngo. And I'll explain the backstory of that too. First, I just want to say, when it comes to political commentary and just making a video for, 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes long, I'm no STYXHEXENHAMMER. I'm no Mouseball. I'm definitely no Tim Pool. So I'm going to do my best to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. I know I can ramble on sometimes. So, like I said, I'll do my best here, so bear with me. All right. So you guys heard Tim Pool in that video saying, I don't care. My take was right. I'm right. So what he was talking about was a tweet that he put out. Now, it was about journalist Andy Ngo. Real quickly, if you guys don't know who Andy Ngo is, he is an author, New York Times best-selling author, and a journalist. His book was released not too long ago called Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy, New York Times bestseller. He has been attacked now a few different times from Antifa. We can credit Andy for bringing us all of those amazing Antifa and BLM mugshots out of Portland and Seattle that look like they're straight out of The Walking Dead. Thank you for that, Andy. So he was attacked pretty bad a few years ago by Antifa. And they don't like him. They make it clear they want him dead. It's absolutely no secret these people want Andy Ngo dead. And he used to do a lot of undercover journalism with, infiltrating Antifa, and that's where he got all the information for his book. He makes posts on Twitter constantly about Antifa, exposing these people, exposing who they are, what they're doing, what their plans are. We need somebody like Andy Ngo to do what he does, to know what we're up against. Unfortunately, the mainstream media is not going to pick any of this up. They're not going to send journalists out there to do it. So, Andy, thank you. We owe Andy a debt of gratitude for exposing this stuff. Well, Tim Pool made a couple of videos about this. It was reported by Antifa that they had attacked Andy last week. Now, Andy was silent from his Twitter feed for a few days. Nobody really knew. Well, there were some people close to him, his friends. He had reached out to them to let him know he was okay. But it was speculation. Tim Pool made a video. Antifa reports that they attacked Andy Ngo, but Tim Pool didn't know. Nobody really had any idea except, some of his close friends. In Tim's video, he kind of speculated. He said, why would Andy do something like that? This is the first video Tim made before he actually knew before Andy made a statement that it was him.
So did Andy Ngo actually show up? I don't know for sure. But this is the point where I think we see people doing things that are incredibly stupid, because maybe it was Andy. But there's a few problems. I'll read the story, but I want to say there's a few problems with this. First, why would Andy show up to an Antifa protest wearing nothing but a standard COVID mask? The dude was brutally beaten before and has avoided being on the ground for these events, for the most part, since. Wouldn't he wear a hoodie and a bigger mask? Just his eyes? Maybe even something covering his eyes. Why would he go down there and just wear a mask? More importantly, most people have tweeted, Andy Ngo left the country a long time ago, and COVID lockdown for international travel is still in effect. So did Andy Ngo leave to a different country and then fly back, and go through the quarantine and all that stuff? Maybe he did. Maybe. But it just seems, if I have to make the least amount of assumptions, considering Antifa has attacked random Asian males in the past, considering the fact that Andy was reportedly out of the country, and considering the fact that Andy has no good reason to go on the ground, unless to do a publicity stunt like this, I suppose, that there's too many assumptions in saying Antifa attacked Andy Ngo. Here's the story.
All right, see, he calls it a publicity stunt by Andy right there. A publicity stunt. Instead of saying, oh, well, Andy may have a good reason that he wants to go and do some more investigative investigative journalism or reporting with him. Publicity stunt. Okay, and then just this one more clip here from the speculation video that Tim made. And I just want to say, full transparency, I like watching Tim Pool's videos. I watch his videos throughout the day. I think he does a decent job bringing us, what's going on, reporting the news. I think he's fairly honest. One of the more honest news reporters that we get. I don't know. Would you call him a journalist? He sits in his studio and reads us news from other reporters and journalists. So I don't know what you call Tim anymore. A YouTuber. I think that he does a good job exposing the left, exposing this woke cancel culture, exposing the Democrats. I think he does a good job, and for the most part, I agree with a lot. He also says things that I absolutely disagree with. And I know that there's a few people in the Timcast compound that have watched some of these videos that I make on him. I was made aware of that. So, Tim, if you see this video, I'm not hating on you, man, but just your ego saying, I'm right, I don't care what anybody else thinks. Maybe listen to what a few other people think.
I kind of lean towards maybe it's just Andy Ngo, but it's a weird thought that Andy would just go down there and do this. For real, there's literally no reason. He just sold a book. Dude's got money. Dude has no reason to put himself in harm's way. And I'm speaking from experience. I used to go on the ground and cover things all the time. They started threatening and harassing me, posting pictures of my mom. And so I said, I'm not going to go down anymore. There's literally no upside to me or Andy being on the ground. Okay, I guess Andy wanted a publicity stunt. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe it was him. Maybe it wasn't. At the very least, Antifa shouldn't be attacking people if they don't know for sure.
Did you hear that? Maybe Antifa shouldn't be attacking people if they don't know for sure. What? Maybe Antifa shouldn't be attacking people, period. When I said, what do you call Tim Pool anymore? The first thing on his Twitter profile, it says journalist. And no offense, he gets the news out there, but he's reading other people's reading other people's news. Other journalists, other reporters put things together. He reads it. He uses NewsGuard to see if it's verified. To see if it's fake news or not fake. It's just Andy Ngo is getting down there and doing the work, Tim, that you don't want to do. So you're gonna fault the guy for it and say it's a spectacle? Is it dangerous? Of course it's dangerous. Talk about danger. Look at Ross Kemp. This guy Ross Kemp. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. If you haven't, go check out some of his videos on YouTube. New Orleans gangster interview. Ross Kemp Extreme World. This guy's a journalist. He goes on the ground to the most dangerous situations. He goes into wars to report. He goes into New Orleans, into gang-infested neighborhoods, and talks to these guys that are holding guns that could take his watch, take his wallet, anything they want at any time. He knows it's dangerous. He knows every time he goes out to do a story, it could be his last one. He knows this. He still does it. That's what he does. He loves to do it. So Tim Pool responding to Andy Ngo's tweet. Andy Ngo's tweet says, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Statement on May 28, 2021, Antifa assault. No journalist in America should ever face violence for doing his or her job. Bingo. That's it. Exactly. Right there. That's it. That's it. Yet on Friday, May 28th, Antifa tried to kill me again while I was reporting on the ongoing protests and riots in Portland, Oregon for a new chapter of my book. That's what he was doing. He was going, apparently the publisher wanted some extended chapters for the book that he wrote, and so he was going to do it. Now, people are saying, oh, he should have hired somebody, he should have brought security. Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe could have dressed up a little better. Maybe he shouldn't have gone himself, but what if this guy says, this is what I love to do. I live for this. I'm trying to make the world a better place by exposing these people, and I'm going to do it. So, Tim says, what purpose was served by trying to infiltrate Antifa? Some journalists can't cover certain topics. So listen to this. This is one of the examples. Women were barred from reporting from Tahrir, I think, by some outlets due to violence against women specifically. So he's talking about a whole other country that plays by no set of rules. And he's comparing that to journalists in America. Then he says, this was pointless and unbelievably stupid. And then he got blowback from so many. Caitlin Bennett, she was like, oh, is that like blaming a girl for wearing a short skirt and walking down an alleyway and getting assaulted? Victim blaming. Jordan Peterson. There's tons of people sticking up for Andy. Tim's right. Everyone else is wrong. So then Tim down below says, Andy going into the fray with no security and no plan is not reporting. How does he know? How does he know he didn't have a plan? It's a tribal spectacle. I was barred from reporting places, and I've refused to support journalists purposely escalating risk and danger. Okay. I'm going to tell you the two places he was barred from in just a minute, and this makes no sense. You can't compare the two. And he's saying it was a tribal spectacle, like, he's almost acting like this was Andy's plan the whole time. Andy's plan was probably to get in there, do some reporting, and get out without being seen. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, a bunch of people made videos about it. Jeremy from The Quartering made a video about it. It says, Tim Pool is totally wrong and doubles down on blaming Andy Ngo and roasts Jordan Peterson for defense. I'll just play a quick clip here.
From The Quartering, this is an important topic. This is about Tim Pool versus everybody, apparently. And a lot of you might be thinking, oh, Jeremy's just going to run to the defense of his buddy Tim Pool. In fact, I'm not. I strongly disagree with his stance on this. But I want to explain that a little bit more. So,
all right, so you can go watch that video on The Quartering, but he completely disagreed with everything Tim said. So Elijah Schaefer from Slightly Offensive, great YouTube channel, check it out if you haven't. He's good friends with Andy Ngo. He made a video, Antifa tried to kill my friend. And of course, he spoke out against, he wasn't happy with what Tim Pool said. And he's friends with Tim Pool. And Elijah Schaefer's part of the DC riot squad with those guys that are constantly covering these BLM and Antifa riots throughout last summer. These guys, Elijah's been attacked several times. And he's talked about, yeah, maybe it's getting too dangerous out there, but, he's never said he's done doing what he does on the ground reporting.
Andy Ngo is attacked, and so Tim Pool quote tweets him and is like, what purpose was served by trying to infiltrate Antifa? Some journalists can't cover certain topics. Women were barred from reporting from I forgot how to pronounce it. Tahrir by some outlets due to violence against women specifically. This was pointless and unbelievably stupid. Andy going into the fray with no security and no plan is not reporting. It's tribal spectacle. I was barred from reporting places and I refused to support journalists purposely escalating risk and danger. Okay, so two things. Number one, Tim Pool is a friend of mine. I respect him a lot and I like his show. Number two, his entire staff are friends and we're on a friendly basis. And I have actually called and spoken to them about this. And I'm not someone who just blasts things online. Mm-hmm. I actually talk to people personally, including I spoke to Turning Point about my issues. Because I'm unlike people who just bitch and complain online. I understand that we are really trying to come to conclusions here. And if Andy Ngo really is what he's doing is hurting the movement rather than helping the truth, then let's understand this. Let's also not forget that Andy Ngo is not a conservative. Andy Ngo is a Portland liberal. Andy Ngo's gay.
All right, so if you want to check out the rest of that, go check it out on Slightly Offensive. But he's not happy with what Tim said. So STYXHEXENHAMMER made a video about it titled Andy Ngo did nothing wrong and the people criticizing him should examine the facts. Now Styx doesn't call Tim Pool out by his name, makes it crystal clear that's who he's talking about.
All right, everyone. Last week, Andy Ngo once again went into the Portland riot zone. He's been covering Antifa quite a bit. Wrote a book, actually, on the subject, and got, attacked and beaten up. And they were threatening to kill him, which Antifa has done to people before. It's funny because when that happens, the media won't talk about it. They don't even class it as left-wing violence, probably. They probably say, well, but they killed someone, so they can't be Antifa, so we're going to class this as right-wing violence. And there were actually people that were calling Andy Ngo out, and some of these people are like legit mainline commentators that appear to be blaming him for having gone there under the premise that it's dangerous, and he knew that he has like a mark on his back because Antifa's not a fan of Andy Ngo for reporting on their various violence. BLM hates him. Liberals in general think he's a Nazi, which is completely cuckoo. If you know anything about his commentary, you'd know his predominant interest is just journalism, I'm finding it confusing that anyone would criticize him for that, because specifically that's what journalists are supposed to do.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Styx on this one. That's a good video too. Check that one out. And also, Mr. Obvious made a video. Now, Mr. Obvious went hardest in the paint at Tim Pool on this. He didn't hold back at all what he thinks about Tim.
This was pointless and unbelievably stupid. So notice how Tim Pool insults Andy Ngo, a man doing real journalism. Quite unlike Tim Pool, who simply sits in his $1 million mansion, sipping on lattes and ramune from the safety of his own home, reading internet articles. It really makes me angry. Tim Pool is on the internet blaming the victim of political violence. Andy Ngo is not at fault. He was doing journalism. Real journalism. The thing you used to do a long time ago. And now you're going to sit there on your high horse. But what was even worse than this tweet was Tim Pool's video. First, I want to read what he said in response, though. Like down below, he said, Andy going into the fray with no security and no plan is not... All
right, so if you want to check that video out, you can too. Okay, so I've just got two more quick clips here by Tim. So one thing that really, really made Tim angry is that Andy Ngo, after he got attacked, some friends probably texted him or called him. He got a hold of his friends to let them know he was okay. I know Drew Hernandez said that he had talked to Andy. Elijah Schaefer talked to Andy. I'm sure there's several people that got a hold of Andy to say, hey, was that you and are you okay? Now, Tim was furious about this. So Tim made a video. The first one was the speculation video. He just made this a few days ago, made another video. Andy Ngo confirmed to have been attacked by Antifa in Portland. No calls on police to stop Antifa. Now, check out the like to dislike ratio on this video. This has to be the most thumbs down, downvotes, whatever you want to call it, dislikes that Tim's ever gotten. 18,000 thumbs up, 8.2 thousand thumbs down. Now, another thing about this video is Mr. Obvious commented on it. Mr. Obvious got more thumbs up on his comment than Tim got thumbs down. So Mr. Obvious comments on Tim Pool's video. You had a really garbage take on this on Twitter. You basically blame Andy Ngo, the victim of political violence. Andy Ngo is a lot braver than certain people who stay at home and read internet articles all day. 11,000 thumbs up. 11,000 thumbs up. That's only 7,000 less than Tim got on the whole video. I don't know why I said he got more thumbs up than Tim did thumbs down. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, so Tim on this whole video only got 7,000 more thumbs up than Mr. Obvious did on this comment. Basically, telling Tim what he thinks of him. Says the next comment says, next time Tim wants to talk about a spineless jellyfish, you take a long hard look in the mirror. These comments go in hard after Tim. Now, one of them says, Tim is always telling us how Republicans don't fight. That's the thing, is Tim is constantly saying, oh, everybody's spineless, the Republicans are feckless, they don't do anything, and nobody does anything at all. And, on his podcast with James O'Keefe, oh, people need to take action, people need to stand up, people need to do what, have something to believe in, stand up for what they believe in. That's what Andy did. And Tim's making videos and making tweets bashing him for it. So one thing that Tim hated the most about this is that people knew about it and didn't come right out and say it. He makes a statement saying that if he knew about this, he would have reported it immediately. So basically, Andy probably reached out to his friends, or they reached out to him, and he said, listen, I'm still in the area. I haven't gotten away to safety. Just give me a few days to recoup, and I'll make a statement. And they were like, yeah, cool, we're not going to put you in danger. Tim's not cool with that at all.
Okay, so I'll point out the obvious. When they mentioned that Andy Ngo tweeted his thread about 10 minutes before appearing on Laura Ingraham, that means Andy Ngo reached out to journalists and was talking with them. Many people knew this was Andy Ngo. I'm not a fan of this. I think he should have issued a statement immediately. I'm a fan of people knowing the truth, and there were many conservative reporters who did not report this because they wanted to give Andy the opportunity to do what he needed to do, or whatever it is he wished. Sure. I don't consider that journalism. I mean, I guess you can. There's a bunch of different kinds of journalism. There's advocacy journalism, and there's tribalist journalism. Now, in Andy's thread, much of which was already published by Will.
So he's calling it tribal journalism because Andy was he had to go to the hospital. He may have still been in the hospital. He probably said, you guys, just let me deal with this. I'm going to get to safety, and I'll make a statement in a couple days. I'll come out with a tweet. I'll go on the news, whatever. Why? I don't understand what the problem is with Tim. If he's still in danger in the air, if he's still in Portland at the hospital, or has to go down to the police department to file a report or something, like... All right, so I got one last video clip that I'm going to play here about something that Tim says. It's the next two things that he says that just blow my mind. And I dragged this on longer than I wanted to. I apologize. I hope me putting the clips there in between me running my mouth broke it up a little bit. Like I said, I'm no STYXHEXENHAMMER. I'm no Mouse Ball. I'm no Tim Pool. I can't talk for long periods of time without rambling on. So, all right, so listen to this.
I understand Andy was disguised. He clearly wasn't prepared for this, didn't have a plan, and had no security, because you can even have security in disguise. What needs to happen is the right needs to get better. The left is really good at this. The right is really bad at this. And because of it now, this just makes the right look bad. That's it. I have done a ton of reporting. I have witnessed very extreme events. I reported from Thailand. And after my documentary came out, that made very powerful people look very bad, I was told, you can't come back to this country.
We're not in Thailand, Tim. We're in the United States of America. We have a constitution. There's laws that protect journalists here. So far, he's used the woman reporting in, what was it, Tahrir or something like that. Now him getting kicked out of Thailand. Now here's his last one.
I went to Venezuela, and I was forced to flee because they made me the story. And Vice...
We're not in Venezuela. So he's saying that Andy shouldn't be reporting on the streets of cities in the United States because he got kicked out of Thailand, Venezuela. They have their own laws and rules. It's lawless in some of these places. They can do what they want. They can lock people up for whatever reason they want. And for what did he say? The women were barred from reporting from Tahrir. So that's the three examples I was talking about. So he says he was kicked out of Thailand, Venezuela, and women were barred from reporting from Tahrir. Tim, we're not in any of these places. We're in the United States of America, where Andy Ngo is a journalist, and he can go report on anybody that he wants to do. And I don't know why all these people aren't getting arrested. Well, of course, we all know why. It's sad. It's a sad state. Andy knows the risks he's taking. Should he be taking those risks? It's not up to me. Maybe he's got that love and that passion burning inside him where he's just going to keep exposing these people until his demise. Who knows? Has Tim gotten soft? I think so. A lot of people think so. If you read all these comments, watch these videos, a lot of people think Tim used to be a great journalist. Of course, Occupy Wall Street, all the live streaming for 24 plus hours at a time. Broke a lot. Tim was a good journalist back in the day. He made a name for himself, got wealthy, figured out, and I'm not hating on him for it. Good for you. Good for you for finding a way to make a ton of money, sitting in front of your camera, reading news stories that other people write. You don't have to do any journalism anymore. You can find the stories you want to report on. You can go to your little verify whatever the thing's called that you verify the news stories with, and you read your news stories and you give your opinion, and you make a lot of money from doing it. Good for you, not hating. But don't throw shade or hate on people that want to do real journalism. I think my take is Tim was all the way wrong, but once again, do you think Tim thinks so?
All right. Now, I wanted to make sure I got through the factual information before I get into my opinion, which many conservatives and people on the right are not fans of. But I'm right. Before I get into my opinion, which many conservatives and people on the right are not fans of. But I'm right. But I'm right.
Are you, Tim? You sure about that? All right. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'm a part of the greatest community on the YouTubes. Leave me a thumbs up if you like the video. I apologize for rambling on so much. And let me know in the comments if you guys think Tim's right, wrong, or indifferent. Guys, Tim had to say he was right so many times in that video that I don't know who he was trying to convince, us or himself. Listen, the world's gone crazy, clearly. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time. Peace.